What's up everyone, it's Bones here. In today's video, I'll be showcasing the new Blackwing stuff as I begin a mini journey on kind of showcasing all of the Darkwing Blast stuff over the next few weeks. But before I begin, if you happen to enjoy content like this, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons would be greatly appreciated, as it goes a long way in supporting the channel and shows me that you like content like this. So the first combo that I wanted to show is going to be a 3-card combo, and this one uses Steam the Cloak. As it just came off the ban list, I felt it was only right to use it first. So to start, I'm going to read through the cards here, as Shamal and Veda are two key pieces that have been introduced to the Blackwing archetypes that you'll be playing in multiples. Veda reads that if you control a Blackwing monster other than Blackwing Veda, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Blackwing Veda the Knave once per turn this way. Then during your main phase, you can send this card on your field and one or more Blackwing non-tuners from your deck to the graveyard, whose total levels exactly equal 8. And if you do, special summon one Blackwing Dragon from your extra deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except dark monsters. You can only use this effect of Blackwing Veda once per turn. So not only is it like a Gale or a Bora, but it has the foolish effect in which it can also be used for the special summon of a synchro monster. While Shamal here reads that you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, place one Black Feather Whirlwind from your deck face up in your spell and trap zone. If a Blackwing Synchro monster and or Blackwing Dragon is special summoned to your field while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card, then target one Blackwing monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, a very important effect, then take 700 damage. It's important to note that kind of like Zephyros inflicts 400 damage, Shamal here inflicts 700 damage. There are a few effects that Blackwings do have that do burn you, and you can only use each of these effects once per turn. So to begin the combo here, I'm going to start by using the Shamal, and we're going to place the Black Feather Whirlwind, which reads, once per turn, if you can special summon a Dark Synchro monsters from the extra deck, you can target one of your Blackwing monsters or Blackwing Dragon with lower attack that is banished or in your graveyard, special summon it. Once per turn, if a dark monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can remove one Black Feather counter from your field instead. So from here, I'm going to normal summon Steam, and then we're going to special summon Veda now that we have another Blackwing, and then we're going to use the Veda effect, and that will send the Zephyros, as you can see here, along with the Harmattan. And now we can synchro or special summon the Blackwing Dragon, which is finally a big part of the Blackwing deck. It was kind of a meme back in the day how this was a quote-unquote Blackwing card, but it just saw no play in Blackwings. And you'll see that we're going to get the effect of Black Feather Whirlwind here, and we can also use the Shamal to add back the Harmattan that we sent off the Veda, and from here we can special summon back the Veda through the Whirlwind. And now we're going to synchro summon into the Full Armor Master. I like going into Full Armor Master early because Blackwing's combo kind of hard, so it's easy to fall into Nibiru. And with Full Armor Master, you guarantee that you have something through Nibiru. From here, I'm going to use the Zephyros, bounce back the Whirlwind, special summon the Zephyros, take 400 damage, activate the Whirlwind again, special summon the Harmattan, change its level to 6 by adding the Zephyros or targeting the Zephyros, and then we can synchro summon the Blackwing Armor Master and use Steam the Cloak here as Chainlink 1, the Whirlwind is Chainlink 2 to special summon back the Veda. Then we can get the token from Steam. We can go into Draco Berserker now, and now we can use Steam's effect here one final time in order to go into a second Full Armor Master while still having 2 cards in hand and an interruption through Draco Berserker of the Tenny. I also show the Super Poly here because you special summon a Wind Aqua token at the end of this combo, so you can always super poly if you want to put that into the side deck or something. So for the second combo here, I'm going to show just kind of the importance of Veta, and as you can see, I'm playing the Mystic Mine and the Gozen match, and in my previous combo, you happen to see the full Armor Masters. So I'll go more into depth with that as the video goes on, but the point of this replay here is to kind of show how Veta on its own, as long as you can get to a Blackwing, sort of as you saw with Steam, can just get you pretty far. As you see that we're going to add the Chris off the Prosperity, and from there we can normal summon the Chris, special summon the Veta, use the Veta's effect, which will allow us to send Zonda, which is another new card here, and this one reads, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except Synchro monsters. You can only use one of the following effects of Zonda once per turn, and only once that turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one monster on the field, return it to the hand. But the important part that you want here is, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon one level 5 or higher Blackwing monster from your hand or deck, then take damage equal to its attack, which is another one of those burning effects that I was referring to. From there, we can now use the Zonda to special summon the Kunai, and we'll lose attack there with the Blackwing Dragon. Then we can use the Kunai effect to change the level of the Blackwing Dragon, and we'll change that to 4, as now we're going to go into Y-Strix. We're then going to special summon Zephyros, special summon 4 Strix, then we can use the 4 Strix effect, add the Raider's Wing, and you'll see that I'm not playing any of the rank up spells here, and it's because, quite frankly, you don't need them. I think they're just extra bricks in the deck, and again, as far as card choices and what I was aiming for with this build, I'll talk about in the deck profile. So now you'll see that I'm going to end on Masquerena with the Y-Strix here, off of a hand that wasn't necessarily looking too great in the beginning. So the next combo I'm going to show here is Suthri. And this is another new Blackwing card, which reads, when this card is normal summoned, you can add one card that mentions Blackwing Dragon from your deck to your hand, except itself, or another copy of itself. And you contribute one monster, cost, special summon, one Spark token, Wing Beast, Tuner, Dark level 2, 700 attack, 700 defense. Keep in mind that it is a tuner, then take 700 damage. You cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect, except Synchro monsters. You can only use this effect of Suthri once per turn. So in this particular build, I'm going to show what the one card combo with this card is, though keep in mind that there are other people playing stuff like Kali Yuga and stuff like that, but when it goes to the choices in my deck, I'll explain them in the deck profile. So I'm going to start by normal summoning the Suthri, then we can add the Veta, which is what you really want to go for in every hand that you can, as we're going to send the Zonda. Then we can special summon the Blackwing Dragon, get the Kunai off of the Zonda. From there we can use the Zonda, change the level to 4 here, and from there we can go into the 4 Strix, or the Y-Strix, much like the last one. Go into our 4 Strix here, grab back our Raider's Wing, and from there we can special summon the Raider's Wing and go into our Masquerena. So basically the same thing as you saw in the previous hand, but I wanted to show that you can do this with just one card. And now I'll be showing the Simoon combo, because Simoon has gotten a lot crazier with this support, in my opinion, because of Suthri, which is such a great normal summon. So we'll see that I'm going to use the Simoon right here, get the Black Whirlwind. From there we can normal summon the Simoon, get the Black Whirlwind effect, which will add us to Suthri. Then we can use Suthri effect, get the add off of that, and the Black Whirlwind, which will get us the Veda and the Shamal, which now we can use the Shamal effect, get the other Whirlwind, and now we can special summon the Veda, send the Zephyros, and I want to read Chinook here. This is another new card that we got, and I'm showing this because this is a route you can take if you want kind of like a pseudo hand trap, and this reads that you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, send one Blackwing Synchro monster or Blackwing Dragon from your extra deck to the graveyard, and if you do, until the end of this turn, the targeted monster loses 700 attack. Also, its effects are negated. This is a quick effect if you control a Dark Synchro monster, and you can only use this effect of Blackwing Chinook, the Snow Strike, once per turn. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory to why we have that in the deck, as it's so easy to get a Blackwing Dragon onto the field early with how good of a card Veda is. So we'll see that I'm going to get the Whirlwind now, which will special summon back the Veda, and I can get the Chinook back off of the Shamal, which is another thing I wanted to show. And then we're going to go into the full Armor Master again, just to play around Nib. We'll get the summon off of Ystrix here as we get the Chris, use the Zephyros effect. From here, we can now go into our Forstrix, much like we have in our other combos. Then I'm going to grab the Raider's Wing. Then we can special summon the Raider's Wing by detaching from the Forstrix. Go into our Masquerena, and this is pretty much what you can get just off of Simoon with this particular build. So for the very last combo, and this is going to be a God Hand, and this is going to show basically everything the deck can do. It's going to summon all of its boss monsters. It's just not going to show what your typical games are like, because as you saw with Gozen and Mine, you can get into somewhat grindy states with full Armor Master and such. So to begin this combo, I'm going to start by using the Shamal so that we can get the new Whirlwind onto the field. Then I'm going to use the Simoon, get the Black Whirlwind, normal summon the Simoon, use the Black Whirlwind to get the Veda. Now we can summon the Sithri. The Sithri can then be Chainlink 1, Black Whirlwind, Chainlink 2, as we get Gale now, and we're also going to get the Chinook. We can special summon the Veda. Now we can send the Zonda to the graveyard. We'll special summon the Blackwing Dragon. Then we can use the Whirlwind to get back the Veda. Now go into our full Armor Master as normal. Go into our Ystrix to get a copy of Zephyros. From here we can special summon the Gale, go into Armor Master, then we can use the Shamal in the graveyard to get back the Gale, which is important because you will need the tuner. But you'll see that the Zonda is going to special summon the Kunai, then the Kunai can change the level of Armor Master, and then we can special summon the Gale here. We'll use the Zephyros to get that back, and now we can go activate our second copy of Whirlwind again, or the other copy of Whirlwind, and because the Armor Master was level 3, the Gale is also level 3, we can Synchro Summon into Boreas, the Evil Wind, and this one takes one Dark Tuner plus one non-tuner monster, and if this card is Synchro Summoned, you can send one Blackwing monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, this card's level becomes that monster. When this card destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can banish one Blackwing monster from your face-up field or graveyard, special summon the destroyed monster to your field in defense position. Kind of cool that it has a Goyo Guardian effect, being a Blackwing monster and kind of like the time and whatnot, but you can only use each effect of Boreas once per turn. And you'll also take notice to the fact that it's a tuner. So I'm going to get the Revive off of the new Whirlwind, and then I'm going to go into the Forstrix, get some follow-up with another copy of Zithri, and now we can link away into Masquerena, and then we can special summon by banishing the Evil Wind and the Blackwing Dragon here. Our Blackwing Assault Dragon, which takes one tuner synchro monster plus one non-tuner monster, and it reads must either be synchro summoned or special summoned by banishing one tuner synchro monster and one Blackwing Dragon from your field and or graveyard, which we just did. Each time your opponent activates a monster effect, place one black feather counter on this card immediately after it resolves, and if you do, inflict 700 damage to them. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you contribute this card with 4 more black feather counters, destroy all cards on the field. So a cool addition to the Blackwing deck, as monster effects are pretty common and stacking counters isn't necessarily too difficult. I thought that this was a cool combo to show off, seeing as you can pull off both the Blackwing level 10s with the ability for follow-up and Chinook. So finally we have the deck profile. And I know I've been keeping you guys waiting for it, wondering what the Masquerena was going into. And as you can see, we have 0 Boros here, which is a dark. And as you can see, the point of this deck here is that even if Gozen isn't necessarily the greatest against a deck like Tears, you can slow them down by not allowing them to go into their Curious and stuff like that. Just really being able to slow down decks with Gozen and Mine can make it so that you can keep momentum throughout the game. Another cool thing is how Mystic Mine becomes kind of like a pseudo Kaiser Coliseum if you have one full Armor Master, because outing it isn't necessarily easy. It forces them to have something over 3,000 attack. They have to do that through being able to play through other stuff like Droplets, the Gozen, Mine, potential called by, even if you just have to sit on Baguska. As you can see, there's a couple of new trap cards here I haven't gone through, and I'll talk about them more as soon as I read them. Blackwing Twin Shadow reads, return 2 of your Blackwing monsters that are banished and or in your graveyard to the deck and or extra deck, 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner cost. Special summon 1 Blackwing Synchro monster or Blackwinged Dragon from your extra deck whose level exactly equals the total levels of those monsters. This is treated as a synchro summon. If you control 2 or more Blackwing monsters, you can activate this card from your hand. You can only activate 1 Twin Shadow per turn. So again, this is a really cool utility card, something that can be kind of like a hand trap against your opponent, but this particular build where you're just kind of trying to play grindier game or just full combo your opponent to a win, I feel like this is just more of a win more card in here. It doesn't even attribute to combos until you already have finished them. Then we have Black Shadow Squall, and this one reads, when a spell trap is activated, remove 1 black feather counter from your field. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. If you control Blackwing Dragon, you can set this card from your graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use 1 of Squall's effects per turn. So again, this is another card here that's not terrible at all either. It's just not in this build because of what I'm trying to accomplish. Go over the options. Vayu is definitely an option that you can play here. As you can see, you send stuff pretty easily with Veda. Since you're synchro summoning so much, it's easy to get the materials in graveyard for Vayu. Just didn't want to go over 40 in here, which is also why these are just at 1 and 1. I already also have the Gale, which is sort of like an extra, especially when you consider that the 3 Veda do sort of the same thing, but better. I think the Bisted cards will be good in the side deck. Super Poly is possible if you want to make the extra deck space for it. And these are 2 other cards I wanted to go through, Black Sonic and Delta Crow. So I think Delta Crow has a higher chance of seeing side deck play, seeing as Black Sonic is a card that requires your opponent to declare an attack on a Blackwing monster you control. Just being able to blow out aggro decks that may go second and set 5 on you, and you just throw this down on them, be a pretty commanding feeling. And for the last ones I'll go through are the Exciton Knight, Abyss Dweller, and Zeus. These are just other rank 4s that you can choose to go for. I chose to go for Baguska because if all else fails, then you at least have this. Armor Master doesn't really care about Baguska, or Full Armor Master, so that's why this is in here. Now on to the card by card, you'll see that we play the 3 Sithri, 1 Chris, 1 Bora, 1 Raider's Wing, 3 Simoon, 1 Steam, as this is all we can play, the 3 Veda, the 2 Shamal, the 1 Zephyros, the 1 Zonda, the 1 Harmattan, the 1 Chinook, Gale, the Kunai for the Zonda. Then we have the 3 Prosperities, which can be Allure of Darkness if you would like, but as you saw in the test hand where I opened Gozen, Droplet, Mine, Ada, and Prosperity, just having Prosperity makes it more consistent in my opinion. Then we have the 2 Talents and 1 Called by the Grave. I would like to fit in a 3rd talent, but because I wanted to keep the deck at 40, felt like it was okay to play it kind of like as a 3 of pseudo Called by the Grave, the 1 Called by and the 2 Talents. And we have the 3 Gozens and the 3 Mines to slow your opponent down at all costs. The 3 Black Whirlwind along with the Black Feather Whirlwind. And then lastly the Droplet. I feel like the Droplet is good in here because if worst comes to worst, it can take your own Full Armor Master off the field, or it can have your opponent's monsters attack so that it can't attack over your Full Armor Master, which can be game winning. So because of the nature of this deck, I just felt Droplet was the right call to make. Then to the extra deck, you'll see we have 1-0 Boros, and I felt like this was the right target for Mask because not only is it a dark, but because the deck kind of just plays Mine, goes in Droplet Control, or if it draws into it all of its cards, its combo. Boros is one of those cards that if worst comes to worst, you can normal summon a Blackwing where it points to and just banish everything. You still do have to special summon the Blackwing. We have the Masquerena and the Y-Strix, the 1 Assault Dragon. I've seen some people play 2 and 2 of the Evil Wind. I don't necessarily think that'll be necessary. As you see, this does require a little bit of setup to even get its effect off in the first place. It is easy to make. I feel like going for Full Armor Master is better in most cases, as it's what you want to go for early, as it just doesn't lose to Nibiru. We have the 2 Blackwing Dragon, which is now just one of the most important cards in Blackwings, in my opinion, because of Veda. Veda just changed the entire outlook on this card. The Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. Only reason I'm not playing Borreload over this is because I'm not going straight away into Zero Boros with the IP and the Y-Strix all the time. I think even in one of the combos I showed, didn't even go into your Y-Strix mask, and you can't even get a monster that way to equip to Savage. None would be in your graveyard. Then we have the Armor Master and the Hawk Joe, self-explanatory I believe, along with the No Thung, the 1 Evil Wind, 1 Forstrix, and the 1 Baguska to round out the deck profile. Anyways, that's all for today's video, and I hope it helped learning all the new cards that we'll be getting once Darkwing Blast drops in the TCG in just a few weeks, because as you see, there's just a lot of deck slots here between the 10 or 11 that we see just here in the main deck, 2 more in the extra deck with a couple more options you can play. If you're a Blackwing player, this is a set that you should definitely be looking forward to. Anyways, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you for watching and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.